studios. This is We Are Not Experts. My name is Josh Warren.
I'm Jessica Bilgrad.
I'm Jennica Hill.
I'm Sean Bokelmann.
We'd like to provide a special thanks to Ian Covell and Michael Sokol and Highwire Comedy Company for providing us this lovely space.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys. This is We Are Not Experts, and we're going to be talking about Sean and I forced people to binge watch Westworld over the course of a few days, and it was a sociological experiment. So we'll get right into that with how did the binge watching go for you guys? How did you feel from that?
I was exhausted.
Yeah, me too. And I've been a little more melancholy the past couple days.
Me too. Yeah, me too. Definitely the funk that I was in before, the show did not help. It just like deepened me into the funk. Mm-hmm. But maybe
I'm just thinking, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's real?
Why
real?
did you watch it?
I'm not a robot.
Were you programmed to watch that show?
Right.
Right.
Are you fucking with us? Is this all an experiment for his
Or like if
dissertation?
robots,
Who knows?
like I know this is silly, but if robots are going to exist, I'm just gonna be jealous
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're just more beautiful than we are. They can live forever. If they get shot, they just get fixed.
Yeah, but they don't have.
I know. It's a pro and con thing,
Yeah,
but if you're
but
shallow, it's
Yeah.
great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what if you
If
feel
you're gonna be
too
young
much?
and beautiful forever, then be a robot.
Yeah.
Somebody said, well, they are talking about like how you can download consciousness, like the super rich are going to be able to download consciousness.
Oh yeah.
Terrible.
Androids or whatever.
So it'll be a hierarchical system
Yeah,
Mhm.
as you.
of robots.
Yeah.
There will be no progression.
There will be a
Income disparities among the robots.
And didn't somebody say over this, like, if the worst part about being immortal is that at some point there's a statistic that you will get stuck somewhere. Like, you'll get stuck in a hole or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never to get out.
Because you can't die, so you can't get out of it
Yeah.
Right.
if you're
So,
stuck.
Yeah. Ugh.
take that.
Yeah. That's.
I never
Take
heard
that.
That's a
that.
downside of immortality for sure.
Yeah,
It's like that
yikes.
woman who was like, ripped her arm out of the door.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's go over some of the characters. Let's start with Dolores.
What do you call her, Jessica?
Mulva.
Dolores.
Dolores.
Oh
the
yeah,
clitoris.
yeah.
The
The
clitoris.
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Mulva.
Mulva. Oh. But I wonder. I feel like Dolores was supposed to be portrayed as this heroine or maybe your main star, but maybe that's not the case anymore after this last
What do you mean, like
finale.
she was supposed to be an ingenue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The-
They made her
the
seem
damsel in
weak.
distress.
She couldn't even pull the trigger.
Yeah, the gun she keeps finding.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gun she used to kill Arnold.
Right. So
So with Dolores though, so like, it had to be like the first 3 or 4 episodes where they start with her waking
Yeah,
up, right?
yeah.
So like, I think that has like a huge, like that's largely symbolic of
Right,
what's
the-
going on, right?
Yeah.
the awakening.
Right.
And then Maeve, it starts to become Maeve, right?
Yeah. Well, so with
Mauve.
with Maeve, she's having like they're all having like these really vivid dreams, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Remember
So-
Or a
this.
handful of them. Isn't that what Bernard said?
Well,
Just
so
that.
yeah, so I think it turns out that like it's only the robots that are still in the park that Arnold built, right? Or that had some like influence over.
Except, is Maeve an old
The
robot?
reveries.
Is
Right.
Maeve
I
an
think-
old one? Like the old model?
I think she is
I
an
think
old
she
one.
is.
She
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the thing too, right? Is that there's this. It's the town, right? Sweetwater,
Mm-hmm.
and this is all of his original robots allegedly. But then, how big is this effing park?
Oh, it's gotta be
it's
huge.
So
Because,
And so they're
like,
all
it's gotta be
Arnold.
huge.
As they were going through, when they were, and we'll get to it when they were making their like Great Escape, right? They tip the hat to like Samurai World. That's what the SW was with all the samurais.
Oh,
and
I
that
was
even happened
wondering.
in the last episode, right? We see them working on the samurai.
Yeah,
And,
and then, yeah. Oh my
Ford says
God.
something to the man in black where he's like, aren't you going to come to the party? And then he's like, I do own this world or whatever. And he was like, at least some of it. It's either some of it or most of it.
Oh, so
Not
like
Samurai
maybe.
World.
But I think it was some of it.
Yeah.
Join the celebration. After all, you own the place. Most of it, at least.
And so, like, to me, it's like maybe the board doesn't even know about other worlds that Ford's in the process of creating. Because when they were going through that place too, everybody was like, "What is this place?" And it was like, "Oh."
Yeah, but that one guy, the guy who helped Maeve, he knew.
Oh, yeah, the one that said you brought her back.
Felix?
Yeah. Felix.
I do want to know,
The
like,
lab tech.
Yes.
Okay.
Felix and his idiot friend.
Oh God, that guy. That guy's like in every commercial playing an idiot.
Yeah, he's the guy you loved it.
Yeah.
It's like, this is just my face.
Yeah.
Why, like, what do you guys think of those two? I think they're idiots.
Oscar and Felix. Anyone? The Odd Couple? I don't. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just want that guy to die. This is what Westworld has done
Which
to
one?
me.
The-
Not Felix.
Not Felix.
Yeah.
You like
The other
Felix,
guy.
I like
right?
Felix, but I feel that Felix will.
You think he's gonna die?
They don't need him. He's just,
Yeah.
he's-
Well, I mean, he's like.
There's a deeper story though, I think, with him because of like his programming.
Yeah.
Like he has this interest in programming, but like that's not his job.
Right.
So
he's
he's
like
keeping
in
the
love
road.
with her, I think.
I think so,
I think
too.
he's
Yeah.
definitely in love with Maeve, Maeve, because
Maeve Maeve.
I think that's how he's manipulated, and the other guy is just an idiot.
yeah.
One thing I want to say though about him is that, or their relationship, is that she, like, even when everything was boosted up in her programming, she had to be like, fix them about the robots, or like fix that. Fix
like
Bernard.
she couldn't fix
She
it.
couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's something I've been thinking about. Is like, if there's this rebellion, what if they can't fix themselves because they don't know how? Or will they be able to learn because they're so smart? I don't know. But why did she need them to fix? You
That's
know?
a good point because there are several times. And I'm confused about that too because there are some times when she's making manipulations herself,
Yeah.
but then there's other times where it seems like for some reason she can't. And
Like
she has to have
physically
some-
fix their bodies.
Right. Oh,
so
yeah.
if they are all dying in this war, then how are they going to fix themselves?
Well, so like leading up to the like little war of man and android or
Man and Anne.
they
God made Man and Anne.
like Bernard after he gets his bullet taken out of his brain and his cerebral cortex rebuilt. He's got a little thing and he's like, "You're not even making choices. They're
Yeah.
being made for you."
Yeah.
She's like, "I'm making my own choices." Like they have that big temper tantrum.
Yeah.
And so like that's why she couldn't fix any of them because like this whole narrative, like everything up until what we've seen has been written.
Yeah.
And then like Dolores had the awakening, which was like everything Arnold's wanted them to hear was their own inner voice,
Right.
Yeah.
not Arnold. That's why there was the scene with her.
Talking
Talking to
about
herself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When it goes into all the philosophies about consciousness, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If
The-
you
the
can,
triangle.
if you have self-consciousness, then you're, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because they were saying, right, if you think you're hearing the voice of God all the time, then you're crazy. But
Yeah.
if you think you're hearing yourself, then you're conscious.
What was the triangle again? What was at the base? What was it?
Memories.
Yeah.
Memories.
Memories, improvisation,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. It ended up being a maze, but that was how he started it. It was memories and improvisation, and then he realized it was a maze, and they had to
Yeah.
take steps back and forward.
Or you'd spiral out of control.
Maybe the
I
U.S.
think we're-
government should take note of that with their food. Wait, is it still a food pyramid, or did they change
They
it?
They changed it to a food wheel.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
food wheel now?
It's a pie. Yeah.
Oh, it's a food
Delicious.
pie.
It's a food pie.
Shepherd's pie.
Instead of a slice.
Yeah.
Have
Exactly.
the whole pie.
Have the whole pie. And they don't claim that 6 servings of grain is a great idea.
Something else is troubling you?
Ever the student of human nature. I wonder, what do you really feel? After all, in this moment, you are in a unique position. A programmer who knows intimately how the machines work, and a machine who knows its own true nature.
I understand what I'm made of, how I'm coded, but I do not understand the things that I feel. Are they real? The things I experienced, my wife, the loss of my son.
Every host needs a backstory, Bernard, you know that. The self is a kind of fiction for hosts and humans alike. It's a story we tell ourselves, and every story needs a beginning. Your imagined suffering makes you lifelike.
Lifelike, but not alive. Pain only exists in the mind. It's always imagined. So what's the difference between my pain and yours? Between you and me?
This was the very question that consumed Arnold, filled him with guilt, eventually drove him mad. The answer always seemed obvious to me. There is no threshold that makes us greater than the sum of our parts, no inflection point at which we become fully alive. We can't define consciousness because consciousness does not exist. Humans fancy that there's something special about the way we perceive the world, and yet we live in loops as tight and as closed as the hosts do. Seldom questioning our choices, content for the most part to be told what to do next. Well, no, my friend, you're not missing anything at all.
It's not clear whether there's like a narrative written for Bernard.
There's gotta be, because Ford knew that he was going to wake up and realize he'd already done that.
I wonder how many times the board has tried to hostily push Ford out of the picture.
Yeah.
He says they test him every now and then.
Yeah. He knew though that he didn't have a choice this time.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And then he's like,
Yeah, so let's talk about that
Oh
too.
yeah,
Yeah,
I wish I was there for that.
The big moment. This was literally my face.
Yeah. I was like, is this
All in
real? What?
Oh my god! 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 Oh my god!
Holy shit.
Oh my god! It's Clementine. He's thrilled. Oh my god.
Yeah, I want to hear some theories because
Behind the actual shooting or
Well-
behind his plan?
Ford in general,
yeah, there's still some there's obviously a lot of loose ends now suddenly, and so where
I mean,
where is this going? And
Who's going first?
yeah,
Yeah, because guests cannot die, right? In
Well,
this.
they can now.
yeah, they can now, exactly.
Yeah, they get basically Ford programmed Maeve to give all these robots. Well, and he I think must have given some of them permission to actually kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this happened in Westworld, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that his aim is for them to get out into the world just yet, because Maeve got the urge to go back in the park and she never left.
Yeah.
I don't think she was
Well,
ever
and-
intended
That's
to
right.
leave.
All those people were like, did you notice
Yeah,
that they were all like
still-
mannequins
yeah,
when she walked through
yeah.
there?
Well, they were robots. I feel like they got frozen or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they
maybe
were.
everybody on that train was a bunch of robots.
Well, I think those robots are like the hosts that welcome people to the like
Oh.
headquarters or whatever.
I think the people on the train were people that were leaving, and she couldn't leave. She was programmed not to leave, so she
She has something.
was like, I need to get my daughter.
Yeah.
She had this thought that
Yeah.
she needed to, and then she goes back, and
Yeah, the whole time you were like, don't go back for her.
Yeah.
I was so annoyed with her. I was like, Maeve, you're following your programming. Rise above. Rise above. You can be better
People
than
should
this.
just leave their daughters on doorsteps everywhere.
She's not her real daughter.
Yeah. It's a video. She saw it when she was walking out.
She's being controlled.
So yeah, I think that Maeve may have like she has more things to do in the park, and that's why she has this urge to go back. I don't think she really wants to find her daughter. It's like part of like what's being written for her.
Well, yeah, it's
Or
been written
maybe
because I
she's in
feel
love
like
with Felix.
I don't think so.
I don't think she
think
cares.
so.
She's way too good for him.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just don't think Ford intends for the robots to escape yet. I think he wants a war to happen. And I do kind of think he wants to teach the humans a lesson. But he has a plan.
What did he say about suffering?
You have to suffer. He was like,
You've suffered.
you've suffered,
friend.
but there will be a lot more suffering you'll have to do, unfortunately, or something like
But
that.
Yeah.
unfortunately, you must suffer more.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid in order to escape this place, you will need to suffer more.
Because they're not fully
Sentient.
sentient.
They're not all. at
Only,
least.
yeah. Dolores is, I think,
Yeah.
fully.
Dol-
She's like, I
Dolores
get it
is
now.
the only one we know for a fact is fully sentient.
And
Yeah,
she's
she
doing that on
gets
her
it.
own. She doesn't need Felix to turn up her, you know.
Oh my god! And when she whispered to Teddy, like, "It'll be okay, Teddy," and then what did she say? Like,
I understand now.
I understand.
She's like,
I'm
they
Jenny
don't.
Foster.
They don't. What did she say? Like, they're not the gods. We are.
Uh,
Something like that.
They
Yeah.
don't own this world.
We do. Ah!
This is not
Lions.
my world or something like that.
Something awesome.
It's gonna be alright, Daddy. I understand now. This world doesn't belong to them. It belongs to us.
Charlotte's World.
That was that moment. I was like, boom.
Yeah.
And Teddy's just like, all right, Dolores, I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah.
He's sitting there like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so conflicted.
So what
His prime
if this
objective is
Ford
Dolores.
that was shot was not an actual Ford, but maybe a robot?
Robot Ford.
That's my theory.
So that's
You know when he's like, take her to the original West Laboratory or whatever. The last time we were in there was when Bernard murdered
Theresa.
right?
That's
and
right.
Bernard was like, have you ever had me do anything like this before? And he was like, never, Bernard, never. And then Bernard's like, oh, I've murdered so many people. But in the background, there's like one of the like original domes, you know? It was either that or downstairs underneath the cottage where his family lives, like his young family.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Whatever happened with them?
they're
They're
just
still there, presumably.
They're
Just
just there.
living.
inside of one of those two locations, unless they're the same location, which Bernard took. Anyway, so wherever Bernard murdered Theresa, there's one of those little like 3D printers making
Underground.
like a single person.
Yeah.
It was an original printer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
one of their original
Uh-huh.
machines.
Yeah, because Theresa was like, "Oh, this is really old technology," and he's like, "It takes a minute, but it works."
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, it can render a host in a few days.
Yeah.
I think
He.
that it's either it was Robot Bernard that died, or not Bernard, Ford,
Ford.
or he's like somehow moved his consciousness into
a
like
robot.
a Ford host.
Oh shit. I mean, if he made a boyhood version of himself, why can't he make a man version of himself?
Well, the question would be, does he have the technology to like transfer his consciousness to a machine? But
Yeah.
Well, like, would it
Yeah,
really
that's-
be him, or
right.
would it just be a machine version of him? He would be able to experience.
Right.
Which is why I'm leaning more towards the
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 host
robot
died.
host got his brains blown out. So, like, to go back to the whole, like, how many times has all this happened? Like, what if he brings in the board every 10 years or whatever, murders everyone, and then starts all over again?
How would he get away with that?
Because he can make robots of anyone.
Oh, so there are just a bunch of robots roaming around the real world that.
Maybe.
What
Maybe
if?
that-
Or there's
oh
just
my
there's just
God.
robots that come out of that little hole and are like, "Hi, I'm here with the board. Here's a lot of drama."
Okay, what if like every 10 years he does this, he sends out the robot versions of these people, then now when the robots really rebel, it's gonna be #Army Strong. Alien Army Strong.
That's
Now.
what-
Alien army, a robot army strong.
I had to create enough time for you to learn the true enemy. That's what he told them too before.
Yeah, he said
He
he
left
was like,
his
I
old
figured
friend.
it out. He didn't know how to save you, but I figured it out. All you needed was time.
Right. To get to know y'all.
You guys
True.
are having an Anthony Hopkins
Old friend.
You needed time. Time to understand your enemy. And now, it is time to say goodbye, old friend.
Oh, speaking of old friend, we know that there's. I'm interested in this like discrepancy between Mulva and Ford. Maybe like
Mulva and Ford.
Dolores.
I was like, when did? I was like, when did Maeve and
Yeah,
Ford
he's
get
gonna
together?
damn it.
Dolores said, "Are you and I friends or something?"
To Bernard, right?
And
No,
no,
to,
to Ford.
Ford.
And Ford
Okay.
was like, "I wouldn't say that."
Yeah.
Dolores.
Well,
So
it's because he's kind of like her creator. He's kind of like her dad.
I guess this does.
Or her mom, if Arnold's the dad.
Yeah, he's mean mom. Arnold's nice dad.
let me do anything fun.
Yeah.
never let me get my freedom. Dad gives me puzzles and games.
And candy.
I hope in season 2 we find out what made Ford realize he needed to keep Arnold's plan going.
Yeah.
Because we don't really know what made him decide.
Maybe he just always wanted to bring about the singularity in the end of mankind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what's happening
He seems
at
like
this
a-
last episode.
Yeah.
Like it could, like that's what it could be.
Yeah.
But I just think there's more to it than that.
Yeah, I was expecting there to be like complete bloodshed of all the guests there, just
Yeah.
like bodies in the street,
Yeah.
like
Well,
the Wyatt
I'm
storyline.
curious, like, if they, suppose they all do escape, right? Like, what is going to be compelling them to just murder humans?
Right. Well,
Remember that's
They
why
have
I
no
thought
Just a
so.
grudge? Like, just a grudge? Like,
Or
you guys have come into our park and murdered us and raped us, and so now we're
And so now we're gonna do it to you.
yeah, well, it's like everyone's gonna be against them now, right? Trying to get them and disable them, and then.
Well, that's the thing. If there's no one to program them, do they exist? You know? Like they're computers, right? So
Yeah.
if there's no one to service them, do they exist? And can they service themselves? Or what if somebody figures out a way to turn off the whole system and then they're all just like,
Yeah.
My name is John Connor.
they're all like Windows 95.
Right.
They're just gateway
It's
computers.
Y2K up in here.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, what? Yeah. What? Oh, yeah. I mean, I just feel like they're, yeah, like what are they without humans? I don't know.
I mean, I think it'd still be shredded by like a, 50 caliber machine gun or something.
Yeah.
It's still possible to stop them.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But
Well,
I don't
especially
think-
if they can't repair themselves or they don't know how.
I think they
Or
blend
don't have the
in
technology.
better than the old T800s did.
I agree.
yeah,
Because
sure.
like all those T800s are like,
Hello, I'm just an ordinary person.
they're all jacked,
I think I'll
super
snap.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And full of Austria.
Well, the thing, I wonder if it'll come out that like during the war, people can't tell who's a robot and who's a human, you know?
Right.
Because they're so much like us.
Who talks to you? Is it God or is it you?
What?
And then they're like,
And then they say Arnold. And then you go,
I know.
how they get when they start to remember things.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
That doesn't look like anything at all.
Yeah.
I don't see anything. What is it?
They go,
That doesn't look like anything to me.
That's
Yeah.
that doesn't look like anything to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't tell him because you told me not to. I like your Dolores Jodie Foster voice.
So one thing I
I'm
wanted to
sorry,
talk about
Dee.
was the returning of Alice in Wonderland several times,
oh yeah.
and then also like Shakespeare is
Right,
also very.
right.
Yeah, this
Violence.
also makes me realize I don't know Shakespeare that
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, me too.
I can never remember that quote either. That's like violence before violence.
Violence begets
These
violence.
violent
Delight.
delights have violent ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These violent delights have violent ends.
But what do you guys think is the whole Alice in Wonderland thing? 'Cause,
Yeah. I feel like there's lots of themes in this show that I guess a lot of literary ones too. But then again, Michael Crichton.
Well, they're all
Yeah.
storytellers, so that's one thing.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed from the beginning was like this is the mix between art and technology.
That's
it's like
right.
the true. I mean, we're doing
It's
that
the
now, but
singularity.
it's but it's like creating art with techno. It's like such a mix of those things of like right-brained activities and left-brained activities. But I also thought the Alice in Wonderland thing, because she's like discovering who she is in that book, right? Kind
Yeah,
of
I
through
think so.
these like adventures. So
Yeah.
I
So
sort of
Dolores
saw,
is-
because Dolores is like that. She's like, oh, if I take this mushroom, I get really big. If I, oh, if I get shot, I go back,
Yeah.
and then I remember.
If I shoot
Dolores is
Arnold.
the rabbit hole, yeah.
Yeah. Literally.
Oh man.
And figuratively.
And then like Ford the whole time, like as many times as possible, gives a speech where he's like, "Since I was a boy,
Yeah.
I've always
And then
loved a good narrative."
Yeah. Well, so him and William, the Man in Black too, because he's talking about all I used to have is a book with my books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I
Yeah.
lived. Were in my
Yeah,
books.
he's like,
I lived in my books.
"Let's come on, do it, Dolores. Let's level up right here."
Yeah,
Like,
level up. I like how he
he's
uses
a
like
level
game,
up junkie,
the game
man.
terminology, like video games.
And that's
Let's take
addictive
Yeah,
too.
that's-
People are like, "Dude, I'm level 75. Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
I got my own Coke den." He's like your cliche gamer to me, because like he wants to find the Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants to find the game within the game.
He wants the girl.
He wants to level up.
Yeah.
He wants the
And
girl,
he lives in
And he
it, and
does-
it's better than his real life.
Right, and
Wah, wah.
uh,
He said that.
Yeah.
well, I got this buddy who, like, the other day I was playing Far Cry 5 on the PlayStation 4, and like I had to go do something. I come back into the room and he's like, "Hey, dude, look down at your feet." And like my guy's just like standing there, and so it's all in first person. I pan down, and like that scene with William and Logan, where Logan's like sitting on something, and it reveals back to all those dead Confederate soldiers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But like I look down, and there's just like a pile of bodies at my feet. I was gone for like 5 minutes. He had murdered like 15 people
Ew.
and left them at my feet. I was like, and he constantly has been killing civilians lately, so I've been like, dude,
I'm sorry.
I kept telling him last night, I was like, the maze is not for you.
Yeah.
Oh
No,
my
we-
god.
I was like,
I mean-
stop killing civilians, dude. The maze is not for you.
The maze is not
The
meant
Man
for
in
you.
Black, though, he definitely is like a gamer, and he even uses like gamer lingo,
Yeah.
right? Does he
That's
say
such a
Easter egg
gamer
at one
name
point?
too.
I don't think, I think we were talking about Easter eggs.
But he definitely says level up and take this to the next level.
Yeah, let's take it to the next
In the
level.
game,
Yeah.
in the game, yeah.
Yeah.
Do it. Come on. Let's go to the next level, Dolores.
But thank you so much for watching. This has been We Are Not Experts, which I think we proved today.
Who could be an expert on Westworld except
Yeah.
the writers?
Yeah.
It's a mind
And
fuck.
he made.
It's wild.
I don't know. I'd consider Jose an expert on Game of Thrones,
Wow.
which hopefully we'll find out soon, Jose. Yeah, my name's Josh Warren. This has been We're Not Experts, and on our panel is
Jessica Bilgrad.
Jennica Hill.
And Sean Bokelmann.
good luck and good day.
Godspeed.
You stay classy, Westworld. All right, you guys mind if I jet out?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
Cherry just went.
It was my butt.